Well, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of sick and tired of all of the division and all of the categorizing and all of the dismissing that is happening around us in the last little while. Now, it's not something new. Humans have been doing this for centuries. We tend to see people that are different than us or different than our particular group as somehow wrong, and sometimes they are. Sometimes there's things that other people do that is really bad and causes harm to society in general, but there's other times in which we simply categorize them and then dismiss them. And it reminded me of the story of the woman anointing Jesus' feet with alabaster. And there's a way in which, or with perfume out of an alabaster jar, and there's a way in which she shows grace and love and just amazing thankfulness to Jesus. But those around her, well, let's just see how they respond. So this is Luke chapter 7. Pharisees invite Jesus to have dinner with them. He went to the Pharisee's house. He reclined at the table. A woman in town who had lived a sinful life, now many assume that she had been a prostitute then, learned that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house. So she came there with an alabaster jar of perfume. And as she stood behind him at his feet weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. And when the Pharisee had seen this, he said to himself, "If this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him, and," this is the important part, "what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner." This self-righteous Pharisee, who thought that he had done all of the right things and therefore was not a sinner, looked down and castigated and categorized this woman and then completely dismissed her. Basically, he said, and not only is he dismissing her, he's also dismissing Jesus, because Jesus is showing her love and actually caring for her. Here's a person who has been, for whatever reason, has been living a life that is less than ideal, right? It's a sinful life. It's a life in which she's doing things that is damaging to her, damaging to relationships with other people, damaging to her life and her future as well. That's not what God intended for her. And yet here this man, all he sees is a category. That's what the Pharisee sees. Now I think Jesus calls us not to see people as categories, but to see people as individuals. We love to categorize, and that just leads to problems, because we lump everybody in one thing, and then we realize, oh, wait a minute, no, even people that fit those particular descriptions, even if it's a physical description or whatever else, they all of a sudden, you meet someone that's there, and they think differently than the others that we thought were just like that. Jesus turns towards the woman and he says to Simon, "Do you see this woman? Look at this woman, Simon. Don't look at all of the people that you think about within this particular category. Don't think about all of those who have ever been prostitutes or have led a sinful life. Don't think about all of those who have had such heartache in their life that they've been forced to live and make decisions that have led them to a place like this. Do you see this woman?" And I think that is what we need to do. We need to stop thinking in categories. Yes, sometimes generalities can help us. Sometimes they can give us a good perspective of what's going on. But we and you and I need to see individuals and learn from individuals and think about their individual experience in different ways. Yes, we should think about aggregations and data and other things as well, because they do help us in different ways. But when we're thinking about how to care for and love people, we should be thinking about individuals. Do you see this woman? Jesus says to the Pharisee. I think he says the same to us. Do you see this person that is a part of that skin color group that you dismiss? Do you see that person that is of a different gender than you, that you then dismiss? Do you see that person that is too intellectual or booky and you just dismiss them because they're not a real person or a real man? Or is that individual someone that you can learn from, that you can actually see?